Welcome back, focused learners. I am so glad you're here. Today, we're jumping right into a really fascinating explainer on a concept that is absolutely crucial for building lasting financial capacity. We're going to unpack the vital difference between just earning money and actually building real financial strength.
So, does a high income actually make you wealthy? It seems like a simple yes or no, right? But man, the answer is where so many well-intentioned people get completely tripped up. We see someone with a massive salary, the flashy car, the designer clothes, and we immediately think, wow, they've got it made, they're wealthy. But as our source material points out, those surface-level signals, they can be incredibly misleading.
Just look at the core tension here. On one side, we've got the fragile high earner. Their huge salary looks impressive, sure, but it vanishes literally just as quickly into sky-high rent, escalating lifestyle choices, and mounting debt. If their job ends tomorrow, they're in immediate severe trouble. Now contrast that with the secure, modest earner. Their monthly income isn't anything crazy, maybe it's just average, but they own assets, and those assets are quietly compounding in the background. Financially speaking, the modest earner is vastly stronger and way more secure than the high earner who's secretly just living paycheck to paycheck.
This brings us to the anchor statement for this whole explainer, and I want you to really let this sink in. Income is what enters your life. Wealth is what stays and works for you. See, income is a flow. It's money moving in over time. Wealth, on the other hand, is a stock. It's what remains when that money has been carefully stored, transformed, and protected. If you mix these two concepts up, and a lot of people do, you can end up making the absolute wrong financial decisions for decades, all while feeling like you're doing great.
Section 1. The River and the Reservoir.
Think about it like this. Earning money and keeping money are two completely different jobs. Income is like a river. It's pure movement. It keeps rushing by, and if you stop paying attention, the water just slips right through your fingers. It's active, but it's totally temporary. Wealth, by contrast, is the reservoir. It is stored power. It's like a giant battery. The electricity flowing into your device is the income, but the battery stores that energy so you can use it later, even when you're completely unplugged. Wealth stores the results of your hard work, so your future isn't entirely dependent on next month's paycheck.
Let's visualize a leaky bucket. Your income is the water pouring in from the top. Your spending, your debt, your lifestyle costs, those are the holes in the bottom of the bucket. Wealth is simply the water that actually manages to accumulate inside. So let me ask you, how much of your river is actually staying in the bucket? Because if your spending rises every single time your income rises, which, let's be honest, is a trap so many of us fall into, the hole just gets bigger. The bucket never fills. You aren't building capacity. You're just moving larger volumes of water around. If we look at this simple mental model, you get a cohesive snapshot of your entire financial system. Income is the money flowing in. It answers the immediate question, how much is coming in right now? Spending is the money flowing out, answering how much leaves immediately. And wealth, that's the money securely stored in assets, answering the absolute most important question of all, what do I still control later? If you only focus on that income column, you might mistakenly think the person with the biggest flow is the strongest. But true, lasting strength, that lives entirely in the third column.
Section 2. Building the asset side.
So how exactly do we convert that temporary flow into stored value? Well, money usually passes through three distinct states. First, you earn it through your time and labor. Second, it's held or temporarily allocated in your accounts. And third, it is transformed into something that lasts, an asset. Actually, wait, let me emphasize that. If your money never reaches that third step, it remains completely temporary. It just passes through your life, gives you a fleeting experience, and does absolutely nothing for your future self. Real wealth comes from a disciplined routine, converting salary into savings, savings into investments, and investments into future income.
Our source provides this remarkably quirky but highly memorable analogy for this transformation. Compare a loaf of bread to a goat. Okay, stick with me here. Income from labor, your regular wage, is like the loaf of bread. You work, you get paid, you eat the bread, and boom, it's gone. It feeds you exactly once. Wealth-producing assets, however, are much closer to the goat. The goat gives you milk once a day, and then it just keeps doing it. This is brilliant because it shows exactly why wealthy people focus so heavily on ownership. They aren't just asking, how much did I earn today? They're constantly asking, what did I turn today's earning into?
But you got to be careful here because not everything that feels valuable actually builds your wealth. Try running your purchases through this simple checklist. Does it produce income? Does it reliably hold value? Does it reduce your future pressure? Take a massive, beautiful house, for example. It might feel like the ultimate status symbol, a clear sign of wealth. But if the mortgage, the property taxes, and the constant maintenance are draining cash out of your life every single month, that drastically increases your pressure. Financially speaking, it's acting way more like a liability than an asset. At the end of the day, the label society puts on a purchase doesn't matter. The actual cash flow tells the truth.
Section 3. From earning to owning.
This is really about making that ultimate mindset shift from mere consumption to building lasting capacity. The source puts it perfectly. Consumption gives you experience now. Assets give you optionality later. And optionality simply means choice. When you buy a luxury item, an expensive dinner, or go on a lavish vacation, you're getting a fantastic experience in the present. But when you buy an asset, you are literally buying your future self the freedom to make choices. You are buying the ability to say no. You're no longer forced to depend entirely on the fragile flow of your next paycheck.
So what does this actually look like in real life? What does wealth really buy? Well, it buys you time. Time to wait for better opportunities instead of jumping at the first desperate option. It buys you the critical breathing room you need to handle life's inevitable shocks, like a medical emergency or suddenly losing a job. It gives you the freedom to choose your own path, the ability to invest when everyone else is panicking, and significantly less dependence on any single source of income. Ultimately, what wealth really buys is resilience. It buys capacity.
Which brings us to this final, deeply provocative question. Now that we've unpacked the profound difference between the passing river of income and the lasting reservoir of wealth, are you just making money, or are you actively shaping it? Are you letting the water flow right down the drain, or are you capturing it to build a structure that will firmly support you for a lifetime? I really hope this explainer has given you a wholesome, powerful new lens to look at your financial life. Keep building that reservoir.